Are you new to PJ 2K25? Do not have any clue where to start with your My Player? Looking for a little guidance? Well, I am going to give you a little boost in the right direction in this episode, guys. I will give you a little insight into what knowledge I have gained thus far from getting my technician archetype to a 99 overall. I'll give you a little rundown of my attributes, why I chose the attributes I chose, and we will also take a look at my fittings and why I chose the fittings I chose. So, with all that being said, ain't nothing to it but to get into it.
Thanks, man. Tell your friends.
All right, guys, so we are in My Player, and first things first on the agenda is we are going to check out my attributes. So we'll go into My Player progression, and you will see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 12 different attributes that we can attribute points to. I will start with power. I should also preface things by saying you have an allotted amount of available attribute points. So you need to have that in mind before you're putting points on the things you're going to put points on, because once you put a certain amount of points on, like say I max my power up to 67, that is going to bring my contact back to where I can only put so many points into contact. So the more points you put into one of these attribute slots, the less you're going to have taken from the corresponding slot on the right hand side. So I'll start with power. I have a 67 power. That's as much as you can get in terms of power for technician archetype. I chose to max out the power because I just thought I need as much power as I can get. Everybody wants to hit the ball as far as possible. The players who have the most power have an advantage over the players who do not have a significant power advantage. Power is king, ladies and gentlemen. So we're living in 2025 and literally everybody is hitting a long ball. We're talking virtual golf, but in the real world, everybody is just bombing the ball, and that's because power is king, and you can give yourself a lot more scoring opportunities when you can basically give yourself pitching wedges into par fours and, 5 irons into par fives and stuff like that, right? So that is why I chose to max out my power, because I wanted to have as much power as I could. So if you look at the corresponding slot on the right, which is my contact, for those of you who are not aware, contact will represent your club face in this game. You can see I have it at 75. So because like I said, I maxed out my power at 67, I could only put 75 on the contact, because as I brought my power up, my contact was lessening for what I could attribute to it. So I chose power over having a really high contact. For one, because I just wanted a lot of power. For two, I'm not having significant trouble with like the contact in terms of club face, hitting perfects with the contact. So I thought 75 was just fine. Once we get into fittings, you're going to see why I thought 75 was just fine. But if we move into swing path, that is going to represent your takeaway. I chose to put a lot of points into swing path because if there's one thing that I struggle with, it is hitting swing path consistently, getting the perfect into the swing path. So I wanted to put more into swing path to give myself that much more of a chance to hit that perfect. So if we look at correction is going to be your axis, whether correction is taking your diagonal axis, and it's the more correction you have, the more it's going to be straight up and down. So I've been practicing playing on a diagonal since they dropped the demo, so I really wasn't really concerned with having a high correction, so I basically left it at stock. So wasn't too concerned with it. So that's what that is. If we look at shaping, again, I've done like nothing with my shaping and maybe given it a handful of points, but again, shaping in this game is not really a thing. You have the new shot bias, so basically you're shaping every shot when you hit it perfect. So I didn't think it provided any real value, so I didn't really put any points into it. So that's why it sits at 65. If we look at my recovery is at 65. So basically those are both balancing each other out. I could not put any more points into anything, so I think 65 is like a good number for recovery. Sure, maybe we could have put more into recovery and maybe had a couple less in shaping, but I thought 65 seemed to even things out. So in terms of rhythm, again, I don't necessarily think it's terribly important, unless you know you're hitting like a red rhythm with your like your driver and your irons all the time. I really don't think it's really a big deal. Yes, it's nice to hit the blue and gold with when you hit the rhythm with your driver and irons, but unless you're hitting a red rhythm, it's not really affecting things too much. So I did put points into it just to have them kind of somewhat higher, but at the end of the day, I don't think it's terribly important. So transition, we got 71 transition. Transition is definitely important. Maybe not important for me, but it could be important for you, depending on how you play the game. Now, partial shots in this game are very easy to hit, and transition is going to be the thing that helps you hit those partial shots even easier. So I don't like hitting the partial shots. I try to play a full 100% club every time I get the chance. So I wasn't really concerned with having like a high transition for giving me a better chance at hitting the partials better. So that's why we have the transition at 71. I did put points into it, but I didn't concentrate terribly on transition. If we look at putt weights, again, maybe put a handful of points in, but I wasn't really too concerned with putt weights. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't really think it's really helping. Like, say I had a 90 overall putt weight. If you hit a bad rhythm and you overswing, you're gonna overswing and just mash the putt. So your putt weight ain't really gonna matter. So if you can gauge your putter and your speed, your putt weight really is not going to be significant. So that's why I didn't really concentrate on putt weight. Putt contact, kind of similar thing. Again, if you're concentrating on hitting your contact and swing path with your putter, you don't really got to worry about that because you're hitting it perfect. So if you hit it perfect, it's gonna hit your line. So no need to really worry about that. I maybe put a few points into it, but wasn't concerned with it. So putt rhythm, however, definitely I'm extremely concerned with putt rhythm. I actually could have put way more points into putt rhythm, I believe. I probably could have maybe got a handful more in there, but I think 70 is like a decent place to be. Again, we can offset things like with fittings, which we'll talk about later in the video, but 70 putt rhythm is good. I definitely struggle with putt rhythm, so I wanted to have as many points as I could get into putt rhythm. And if we talk about putt path, again, same thing with putt contact. If you're hitting perfect, you don't got to worry about your putt going off course, right? So if you're all like crazy with your swing plan, sure, maybe you're gonna want to put more in putt path and putt contact, but um, really all that's doing, putt contact and putt path, is going to make your bars a little bit bigger on your shot feedback meter. So I don't know if that's a value to you. Great. I think I'm half decent at hitting a straight back and straightforward line with the putter, so I just wasn't really concerned with it. So that is what I've got for my attributes. That is why I attributed them to their respective slots. Uh, Now I guess we get into fittings. So I will see you guys in my golf bag. Okay, so here we are in my golf bag. As you guys can see, I've kind of went with the all tailor-made sim kind of setup. You can see I got the tailor-made sim driver, the sim 3 wood, and then we have the sim irons, as well as we have Titleist Bokeh wedges, and we have a Odyssey Callaway AI putter. So I went with this putter just not sheerly because of looks. I mean, it's a good looking putter, but I went with it because the um the the player animation looks the best with this putter. It's like the flattest it can get, like in terms of like how the putter sits kind of on the ground, even though no putter sits on the ground in this game, which is retarded development team, by the way. I don't know how you guys could not get that right in like a handful of games, but that is nor here nor there. But yeah, and then we have the Chrome Soft Truvis Red soccer ball. So we'll roll into my driver and then I will give you guys a little rundown on what these fittings mean, why I use them, and yeah. So you guys are probably looking at the screen and wondering, what does sapphire mean? Well, guys, you start with a base set of clubs, and then you have the thing at the end here, which is called an Evo. So once you play a set amount of rounds, you'll unlock each of these slots, right? Like you'll play rounds, and then at the end of the round, you'll see your club's things will go up. And once they get to like the end, you're gonna unlock slots, or you can use what's called level up tokens to buy these slots early. And then once you have got all the slots, you can do what is called the Evo. And you Evo by using that little like wrench sort of thing that is in the top right hand corner to evolve your club to the next level. What that is going to do is it's going to give you more tribute points. So basically, the stock standard version, you're going to be getting a +2. And then you go into what is called Emerald, and that is going to be +3 on all your fittings. And then from Emerald, you go to Sapphire, which is the highest we can go at this stage of the Clubhouse Pass, and that is going to be +4 to all of your fittings. So if you guys remember back to talking about our attributes, we had our power maxed out to 67 for our technician archetype. You can see I've went with 5 power fittings on my Sapphire driver, and you can see that is enabling me to get 87% overall power. So this, I believe, is going to be the longest you're going to get with any archetype that is not powerhouse or or sculptor, I believe. I'm not certain on that. Anybody who has more knowledge, you feel free to chime in the comments and let everybody know that that is not the case. But I went with all power fittings because, like you can see there, my swing path is 95, my contact is 75. I'm not really concerned with having my bars bigger, so I'm pretty consistent with hitting a perfect. And I wanted as much power as I could get, man, because like I said, power is king. When you can bomb at 350, you're going to give yourself way more eagle opportunities. You're going to give yourself wedges into par fours. Hey, right? So that is why I went with all power fittings on my driver, simply because I just wanted the longest driver I could get. And you can see right there, my driver sits at 293 carry. And when I use my power drive, that bumps it up to, I believe, a 304 carry. So that is what we are rolling with for my driver. We'll head back into my 3 wood now, right here. So again, I went with all power fittings for my 3 wood because again, we want to give ourselves every opportunity to hit par fives and two. Therefore, we want as much power as possible on our 3 wood, right? So you can see we also have it leveled up to sapphire, so we're having +4 on all 5 of those fittings, which again gives us 87 overall power. So the 3 wood is a 262 carry. Um, and yeah, I want power on all my long clubs, just because again, power is everything in the modern golf game, ladies and gentlemen. Feel free to argue that in the comments. Let me know, but I guarantee you a guy who can hit a bomb 350, 360 off the tee and hit a good wedge is going to score better than a guy who hits it 280 who hits really good long irons. I would wager the guy who bombs at 360 and plays a decent wedge is going to score better than the guy who hits it 280 and plays amazing long irons. So anyways, let's roll into our iron sets. Again, we're evoed right up to sapphire. And with my irons, I've gone with one power fitting, and then I've gone with two contact fittings and two swing path fittings. You can see my swing path is now maxed out for my irons, which are our scoring clubs. Having a 99% swing path and struggling somewhat with being consistent with the swing path is going to give us a bigger swing path on the bottom, which again is those white bars on our shot feedback meter. And then I went with one power because that one power fitting is basically giving me about a 10-yard gap in all my clubs, like all my irons right up to my 2 iron. So you can see going right from my 9 iron all the way up to the 2 iron, it's basically a 10-yard gap. So I think a 10-yard gap between all your irons is like a really, really good gap. So that is why I utilize the power fitting instead of say like another contact fitting to get the contact up to 86 or something or 87 or whatever. So and yeah, you can see our having utilized two contact fittings, that's getting our contact that we with our tributes was at 75. That bumps it all the way up to an 83. So again, you guys can feel free to, interchange things and do whatever you want to do because this is going to be all personal preference. I'm just giving you guys what I've done to play as good as I'm playing at the moment. Now, I'm not going to say I'm playing good. I'm playing good in terms of ball striking. Now, I suck at putting, but in terms of ball striking, I can hit perfect more times than not. So I think that comes down to the fittings that I put on my club and the attributes. So if anything, if I can stress anything to you guys when it comes to building your My Player attributes and these fittings, is concentrate on swing path and contact. Now, I might have said that in like a previous video, and you might have heard other people say it in their videos, and that's because swing path and contact represent your club face and your takeaway. If you have a shitty takeaway and you have a shitty club face, you're not going to hit good shots. So concentrate on swing path and contact, and then from there, try to build some power into it. And yeah, so anyways, that is our irons. If we now roll back into wedges, it's basically going to mirror the irons. Same setup. We have one power fitting, and then we have two contacts, two swing path, and it's basically, again, it's going to be giving us that almost 10-yard gappage in our wedges. And then, like I said, we have our swing path maxed out at 99 and our contact is 87 on our wedges. So again, wedges are like one of your biggest scoring clubs right behind you, right behind your putter. So as we speak of putter, we'll roll into putter. And again, we have everything evoed to the sapphire. This is the max you can get at this stage of the game. So in terms of putter, we have all putt rhythm fittings on our putter because if you guys remember, I mentioned that I was struggling with hitting red putt rhythms, which you guys definitely, I'm sure this will resonate with a lot of you out there who are new to the game. The putt rhythm is not like just easy to walk into and just play well. You definitely have to practice it. It's not it's not anything like 23, so it takes like some feel and definitely a lot of practice. So I was struggling with hitting red rhythm with my putts, and as such, I wanted to give myself the highest putt rhythm I could to try to negate that red rhythm. So that is why I used all putt rhythm fittings on my putter. You can see it's got us up to an 86 rhythm, and we were sitting at 70 with our base attributes. So that is that, guys. What can I say, man? Again, it's going to be all personal preference. You guys, you can also put fittings like you can put these ball fittings on balls, but unless you play like just strictly nothing but ranked and stuff, I wouldn't even really worry about this. So I haven't even messed with any of this. Maybe at some point I'll mess with this to see what it does, but I don't want to waste any of my level up tokens or nothing like that. So I have not touched that. I think using just the stock ball is just fine at the moment. I guess when you get up into the higher levels of like the ranked and stuff where it gets extremely competitive and other players are going to be using like juiced up balls like this, you're going to have to, I guess, juice up your balls as well. So hey, it is what it is. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my attributes and what is in my bag and why I'm utilizing it. So hopefully you could have gained a little something from this video. Like I said, if you can take anything from this video, just if you're struggling with if you're struggling with the swing, concentrate on swing path and contact because the higher that is, the more you're going to give yourself an opportunity to hit good shots. So if you guys are new here, make sure you like the video, consider subscribing, click the bell for notifications. drop me a comment. Let me know how you're doing. Are you liking the game? What archetype are you playing? What level are you? Just say hello, man. I'll say hello right back. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Until I see ya, if you can be anything in life, be kind. Peace.
You eat pieces of shit for breakfast?
No,